All right, we're starting the streams, and not a moment sooner. It is 11:59. I am cutting it really close. So today it's just me today. JP can't make it, but it's a holiday in the Philippines. And my work schedule is from Tuesday to Saturday, so I should be able to join the Monday table talk streams more regularly. Here I am. And just doing some final setup details. Just real quick. Let me get right. Let me get the correct freaking windows to show. Okay, there we go. That's much better. Why is a Neverwinter map not showing up? What's going on? What's going on with our elements? What is up with OBS today? Let's check my settings. Output. Okay. Okay, everything seems to be in order. So why isn't that little thing working? Let's try this again. There we go. Okay. Okay, that's much better. That is much better. Okay. Let's see what else is going on. We've got one viewer in Twitch so far. Hello, hello. To that single lurker. While I just finish setting everything up. Getting everything set up. Here we go. Hey, Dice Chuck. That single lurker is you. Awesome. Welcome to the stream, Dice Chuck and Eric. Thank you for joining me. So early, so promptly. Just finalizing a couple of things before we launch into it. Yes, yes, yes. Sorry to disappoint. Nah, dude. I miss you guys. I miss streaming at this time slot. It's yeah. I've been away for a while. So this is excellent. I am thoroughly enjoying being with you guys this afternoon. I think we are just about set. I just need one more thing. One more thing. Right. There we go. Some alerts on my phone. Just gonna check what it is. Okay. Nothing to do with Dicecast stuff. Sorry about that. So I am gonna go ahead and transition over to the main scene and run our intro. I am also glad that I am able to fill in for JP today, and hopefully next Monday I will be actually, joining him for the 12 noon stream. So yeah, excellent. At least Table Talk will be back to normal, if not, Video Wednesdays. Yeah, let's see. What else is there to do before running that intro? And yes, yeah, I think his PC really already, you know, bit bit the dust. Am I back to this hour normally? For Mondays at least, for the foreseeable future, for the next couple of weeks, I will be available on Mondays. But Wednesdays um, remain a no. I will still have to stream in the evening on Wednesdays. So, what am I waiting for? Let's see. I just feel like there's something I've missed. How's the audio, by the way, guys? Is it nice and peachy? Is the audio all good? Audio is good. Peachy and plummy. Plumby? Plummy? How do you make when you spell plum as an adjective? Should there be a B? I'm just wondering. Or is it or should it be like plum like hyphen Y? Or is it a double M? PLUMMY. How would you make an adjective out of a plum? Out of the word plum? Hmm. Lots of questions. Lots of questions. Um Something still like what am I forgetting? That's why I'm not hitting the intro yet. Like I feel like I'm forgetting something. I feel like I'm forgetting something. All the options are now laid out before us. What is the act of turning a noun into an adjective? Vin, what's the act of turning a noun into an adjective? Noun into verb is like it's a gerund, right? Noun into adjective. Okay, anyway. Yeah, is ready. The list of topics is ready. Yeah, I think we're all set. I think I'm just like procrastinating. Adjectivized. Really? Adjectification. All right. Yeah. Let's rip into it. Here we go. Here's the intro and we'll get started shortly. All right. There we have our JP changed up the chat stuff. It's now coming in their own like little blocks. Is JP gonna join in the chat? Not that I know of. He didn't say anything about it, so he's probably gonna take really take some time off this Monday. Speaking of how are your Mondays going? I do have a lot of light behind me. I'm gonna try and lower the blinds. I'm gonna try and lower the blinds really quick. Thank you for letting me know. I'll be right back. Okay, I think that's a lot better. Yeah, I'm a lot less washed out without that, that sunlight on the white wall right behind my head. So thank you for that suggestion. Also, the little blocks are good. And yeah, Twitch has been eating up chat messages apparently. The video seems about my webcam. Yeah, because my PC isn't as much of a powerhouse as JP's. I kind of keep the webcam It's not 240. I think it's actually like 360 or something. But yeah, it's pretty low res because so it doesn't eat up resources. Like when I bring it up to like 720p, the webcam starts to chug a bit because of everything else that's going uh, on the PC. So yes, that's unfortunate. Looks way lower than 360. It could be also like after it, like right now it looks fine on my OBS, and then maybe after it, goes through Restream and then goes to Facebook and Twitch or whatever. Yeah, there must be some signal loss going on. So yeah, thank you for understanding. So, we've got a long list of topics to go through today. Because we've pretty much combined, D&D news and the rest of the tabletop RPG and board game world also. So I'll just have to be slightly less hands. Aw, thank you. Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay. So we have a bunch of. Let's go through housekeeping first. And why don't I try before doing all of that? I am going to put this whole block of links in chat. And then for those of you who want to follow along, right, you can go ahead, uh, read with us. Just to try this system out. So yes, okay. So we're gonna give that a try. We're gonna give that a try. Let me know if it's how it works for you all. So just a warning, like wall of text, a big wall of text coming up in chat, and let's see if it goes through proper. Like, okay. So here you guys go. Boom. Wow. Let me check Twitch if that came in all right. Okay, some of the links got chopped up. So it'll have to for next time they'll have to go in like a little at a time. But yes, at least this way if you guys wanna, you know, uh check out what we're talking about today, let me check on Facebook how that looks. If you want to follow along while we go through today's news, yeah, open up those links and we will have a little discussion about them. Um, in the end, it is easier for you at this time slot than at night. Yeah, understandable, Eric. All right, let's see. Housekeeping. So, before we get to that, yeah, I'd just like to know, like, how have you guys been doing? How has your, for those of you listening, like, how's your weekend? How's your weekend gone? What are you looking forward to this week? Personally, I had a fun time this weekend, starting with Friday night. Got to play a show with my main band, Twin Lobster, over at Sagiho. Saturday was our the first of our roundtable discussions with the game designers, the wonderful local game designers, uh, making an appearance at Session Zero. Those were Jamie, Bim, and Maria. So I would like to give a shout out again to them. Thank you for coming on the show and yeah, sharing like your experiences and your insights. And I personally learned a lot from it. And yeah, like I'm glad you guys had fun. So Dice Chuck on what's going on with him? 2 weeks vacation, just nice. 2 weeks time off from work is substantial. Good for you. Time with your niece and nephew and hours of writing. Are like writing what blog posts, reviews, like an RPG? How's that going? I mean, like, what is that? And Eric, pretty good. Hung out with Pam and Mahar this weekend. Oh, nice. It's always good to hang out with old friends. Yeah, I mean, I got to spend some time too, like yesterday with my bandmate Nick. We don't get to hang out that often these days, so it was nice to kind of just like drive over, um, hang out uh, with Naomi, my kid, and Lucy, his wonderful lab. Heartaches. Oh, it's RPG related. Then it must at least be very worthwhile. So good on you. You know what's good? Lots of stars. Did you lots of stars like this weekend? Did you see lots of stars or what? Like stargazing? How'd that go? Welcome to the stream. You know what's good. Thank you for tuning in. Housekeeping. Let's see. So I did mention that this past Saturday we had the first of our um, roundtable discussions with local game designers that will be featured at Table Talk on August 25th. So a couple of things. We will be at Table Talk Session 0 at August 25th, on August 25th at Green Sun in Makati. So a couple of things. We will be at Session 0 by Gamers and GMs um, at their event on August 25th. You will find us with our own table there. So please come by and say hi. We will be doing the rounds ourselves, also like you know, um, trying to show you guys at home. Like if you can't make it, trying to show you guys at home, uh, like what the event's like, what's being offered, what you're missing out on, um, and also before that, the weekend before that, we will be streaming the second of our roundtable discussions with the game designers who will be showing up at session 0. Um, Originally, it was going to be the last, but so we've got a bit of an overwhelming like response for people who wanna join the roundtable discussion. So we might set up another day, um, a third one to accommodate everybody. So right now we can only fit in uh, 7 guests with one host, myself, uh, or else I think it becomes a bit unmanageable on our video conferencing tool, GridFam. Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So we would like to add another stream, special stream, to accommodate everybody, and we'll be making announcements, sometime this week. Um, and contacting also the interested parties, the interested designers and game developers who want to who expressed interest in coming on the show. What else? Housekeeping. I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, we are gonna go on to our first topic. Along with my return to the Monday afternoon stream, we have Dune the board game making its own return. Once lost in dang close. Okay. Once lost in licensing hell, Dune is coming back in board game form. So one of the most unique strategy games of all time is being brought back to life by Gale Force 9. Um, this is by Charlie Hall, reported last August 9th. And here you have the image, the initial, um, the first picture is the author's personal handmade copy of Dune with illustrations and graphic design by Board Game Geek user Ilya77. That looks gorgeous. Okay, so let's get into it. The board game adaptation of Frank Herbert's Dune, first published 40 years ago and long out of print, is back. Publisher Gale Force 9 says that this is just the beginning of its new forged partnership with the Herbert estate. Originally titled Frank Herbert's Dune, the game was first published by the Avalon Hill Game Company in 1979. If I recall, Avalon Hill are the same people who made Risk, right? Anyway, it's widely considered a classic and was a personal favorite of Gale Force 9 head honcho Peter Simunovich. An early prototype of the classic was even on display at this year's GenCon, the nation's largest tabletop gaming convention. As Peter will tell you, said John Matthews, also from Gale Force 9, I've played 500 games of this. And, he might not be wrong. He might actually have played 5,000. It pretty much seems that's all he did through university was play Dune. But he just loved the classic game, so he said, "Why not? Why don't we just bring the classic game out altogether?" So they went and asked the Herbert Estate, and they were like, "Yes, we would love to see it come out." Avalon Hill Dice Chuck Shares was famous for making all of those old text-based chit war games. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, classic pedigree right there. Um, and here you have official photos of the new board game from Gale Force 9. Looks pretty sweet. I like the icons. It's a nice touch. In Dune, players take on the role of iconic characters from the 1965 novel, including Paul Atreides, Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, and Emperor Shaddam IV. But each player at the table plays by a slightly different set of rules, including those governing how their units spawn onto the battlefield, how they move, and how they fight. So it's interesting. So it's an asymmetric asymmetric board game. Alliances are encouraged in a way formalized in the course of each game turn. Open bribery is also encouraged. Most unusual of all, players secretly wager a number of units each time a battle takes place. At the end of the combat, all units wagered in this way are lost, turning every fight into a grisly battle of attrition. To win, you must make plans within plans. So it's Catan. It's violent Catan. So this is an image from a catalog of the of Avalon Hill from 1979, way back. The system was so highly regarded that a community of fans has grown up around it online, collecting and trading copies and ephemera related to the board game. Multiple artists and graphic designers have even tried their hand at reimagining the game's original art style. Cool. So, one moment. Let me just check something real quick. Real quick. Some people have spent $300 in printer ink to print their own copy after the original went into licensing hell. It's been much loved and out of print. Ah, okay. So this is like gonna be welcomed with open arms, essentially. Isn't that right? Is that like the general impression of this re-release of this classic? The new one is exactly like the original, save for the art. So yeah, it's like same mechanics, same everything. I didn't know they made like asymmetric board game gameplay going that far back. Is Dune one of the first to try that? One of the first board games to try that? Many people have been dying to get this classic for a long time. And the original copies go for big bucks on eBay. Wow. Sweet. Okay, original goes for, yeah, big bucks on eBay. Like how much? So people spend 300 in printer ink. I wonder if you could. It probably goes for a lot higher if you're selling an original copy. Um, it's an early asymmetric game. The most famous current asymmetric board game is probably the it's probably Vast the Crystal Caverns. So you have this, and it's very asymmetrical, almost like each player is playing. Oh, I haven't heard of this one. I mean, I'm not that big of a board game. Like, I'm not. I don't have a collection. Like, I don't. I would. Yeah, I wouldn't say I have a collection of board games, but they've always interested me. I enjoy going to board game cafes and trying all sorts out. But yeah, asymmetric games have always been like for me. Like it feels like a like a masterwork item. And Vast is RPG like. Okay, thank you for the link. We'll check it out in a bit. But yeah, um, let's go on to the article. So okay, so yeah, using one of those fan made designs, the author made his own copy of the game back in 2012 and cost him more than $300. Um, okay, so sadly, that version is no longer available for free online because the team at Gale Force 9 has licensed it from the original artist who goes by the handle Ilya77 on Board Game Geek. So Matthews goes on to say, "You look at what's out there, and we came across Ilya, the Russian girl who had done the artwork, and we pinged him and said, would you be interested in selling us the rights to your artwork?" And he went, "Absolutely," in Russian, heavy Russian accent, "Absolutely." Um, so here you have some images from Gale Force 9. I think this is at GenCon. Yeah, about a week ago. So Bill Ebery was on hand to make the Friday drawing for the Dune game. Conrad Richter was the lucky recipient of the first consumer Dune game in the world, and Bill even signed it for him. Congratulations. That is pretty sick. One player is the knight, one is the dragon, one is the thief, one is. Oh, this is for Vast, and one is the cave. Someone places the cave. Okay, nice spawn shirt. That's like. I didn't know people still, you know, uh, went for spawn. Okay, so the game's original rules went largely untouched, and Matthews says it is the game's creators, Bill, Jack, and Peter, also received a licensing fee. What's truly remarkable is how well the game was assigned the first time around. Um, Matthews says that I would say we have about 95% of the original game, maybe as high as 97, and then 3% has just been slightly refined. And that Herbert Estate has gone, that's the one we want to come out now, and we'll go from there. Cool. The cave is like a hostile DM. Okay. These dudes, I guess, yeah. Like if this RPG was in 79, RPG, I keep saying RPG. If this board game came out in 79, right? Um, yeah, then that was 40 years ago. Holy crap. Right? Wasn't it 40 years ago? Yeah, 40 years ago. Wow. So yeah, it is quite remarkable that like the creators are still alive. And it's awesome that they got, that this all happened nice and proper above board. They got licensing fees for like their work. The artist, got paid for the art that he made. Um, and yeah, they've pretty much stuck to the game in its classic form because it was so well designed, like from the get go. So there remains the potential, Matthews said, to re-release the game in the future with art inspired by the upcoming film. which will star Stellan Skarsgård, Zendaya, Jason Momoa, Josh Brolin, Bautista, Timothy Chalamet, Oscar Isaac, Javier Bardem, Rebecca Ferguson, and Charlotte Rampling, among others. The film will be in theaters on November 20, 2020. Let's see what this link shows us. Oh, wow. Okay. So there's a bunch of Dune stuff going on, basically. I haven't read Dune. I hear it is a bit of a beast, to tackle reading wise. But it's always been unlike those, like if I get a Kindle or if I find it in book sale or something, like I'm gonna pick it up and finally read it, but I just never get around to doing that. Um, Dune is up for pre-order now and costs $50 US. The game could begin shipping as soon as the last week in August. So let's see what this link leads us to. You may not have my copy for any price. Okay. So let's see. So this is the Gale Force 9 page. You can see here, this is the Dune board game, the new one. Let's see the product page. They've got some images up here. Yeah, it looks pretty sweet. Nice. It's a beast, but so is Lord. Yes. The difference is when I read Lord of the Rings, I had so much more time. I had so much more time. Although, like, with my new job, I guess I could bring it to the floor and yeah, read through it then and there in between like tasks. I could probably do that. Okay, so yeah, I have no excuse to not finally read Dune. Let's check this out. The Board Game Geek um page for Dune. Oh, it's got a pretty good rating, huh? On Board Game Geek, it's coming in at an 8. The best asymmetrical war game with negotiation. Um, some improvements like there's a shield wall blown token when back in the day people had to make their own. Okay, interesting, interesting. And yes, we can get a better look at what this game looks like thanks to the way Board Game Geek organizes its gallery. Pretty cool. A game of conquest, diplomacy, and betrayal. Right, sweet. Looks pretty good. I agree. Okay. Um, moving on from this topic, we have a bunch of other board games that deserve checking out from GenCon 2019. Also, according to Polygon. So when we get to it, let's see. Other than Dune, what else was at GenCon 2019? Dice Chuck, I'll have to hear some great things about it. I already have some outstanding area control. What is an area control board game? What like yeah, like what do you mean by area control games? So before yeah, like let me know like if any of these seem to match the description. Like Risk, dudes on a map. Okay, yeah, controlling territory. Okay. That's yeah, pretty simple. Would Catan fall into an area control game? I know Catan like sounds so basic to mention, like compared to things like Dune and the other games you mentioned, like Vast, the Crystal Caverns. But yeah, you do control like try to control a territory, and you try to expand before your opponents get to certain spots. You can block them. I don't know. Anyway, at this year's Gen Con, also from Charlie Hall from Polygon, there were no fewer than 630 new board games to choose from. Even with a convention spread across 4 full days, there's simply not enough time to see them all. So they've done us a favor of sifting through all of them, and telling us what stood out, right? So these are um, some of the ambitious new board games to make it out of Gen Con 2019. So one of the larger ones is called Black Angel. So you can see it here, and in the first image, there you go. But what is it about? So the ambition is to elevate sleepy Euro-style games with a glossy science fiction theme. Oh, so it's a what they've done is layer system on top of system and wrap it all in an art inspired by classic pulp novels. Catan is more of an econ. Okay, yeah, because yeah, like control is probably secondary because first of all you need to, get resources, trade resources, and that's what. Yeah, okay, gotcha. So one of the hottest titles from this year was a systems heavy game called Black Angel. It seems a bit hard to get right, right out of the box. The author had to go through the demo twice before it started to click. And what it does is you take 4 players that take on the role of advanced AIs tasked with shepherding humans to an Earth like world called Spez. The AI on board are tasked with keeping the ship running, and that means dealing with any unusual situations that come up along the way. The most successful AI won't be deleted when the ship arrives, so players are literally playing for their program's survival. The fun begins when the Black Angel begins to encounter alien species. Based on those interactions, each of the AI at the table get to learn something new, and they can then slot those advanced capabilities into a grid that they maintain as a sideboard. So there's a lot more going on than that. There's so many clever little systems going on that at times it's hard to unfocus your eyes enough to see the science fiction theming underneath. Okay, but it's there. The author assures people. So all right, that seems like a pretty complex game. I wonder if checking out its website will enlighten us a bit further. Okay, let's check out Black Angel. Okay, so the setup is humanity, through its irresponsible behavior, has rendered the Earth uninhabitable. So the mission of the spacecraft, the Black Angel, is to transport the genetic heritage of humanity to a new home planet. All right, you play one of the AIs guiding the ship. Um, You must make the most of the robots and resources under your control, explore space, escape the formidable ravagers, and then learn to use new technologies discovered through contact with benevolent alien species. Wow. Yeah, this thing looks pretty dense. I'm guessing these are the sideboards that the author mentioned. So you have like your action card, you have all of these uh I guess the components to your programming. 4 players, right? And I guess this is the actual journey. Wow. Reminds Dice Chuck of the classic sci-fi series The Star Lost. I haven't seen that. I don't even know what that is. What is that? Let's see. The Star Lost. Oh wow, I haven't seen. This is something I am completely unfamiliar with. It's a pretty kick-ass ship though. You have like the habitation domes and stuff. Nice. Hey Santagoy, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us. The ship in Starlost is so large and is filled with domes, filled with mostly primitive peoples that don't know they are on a spaceship. The series follows a tiny group that escapes their dome and explores the ship and other domes. The crew in the main ship are all dead, and the AIs are old and malfunctioning. It would actually make for a good RPG. And it was written by none other than Harlan Ellison. But they changed his scripts so much that he used his fake name, Cordwainer Bird. Oh, dude, yeah. That sounds like a great RPG premise. You could run it. You could probably do this with like Coriolis or something. I would probably try to accomplish that uh, with Coriolis, just because the sci-fi stuff is already baked in. So Black Angel will release in the US by August 30th. Pre-orders are now on Amazon. Um, and yeah, you can follow the publisher Pearl Games at their website or on Facebook for more updates and info. Face Up Forever, okay, fine. Nibiru? Let me. Is that. Okay, let me just check. RPG. Oh, cool. I am gonna check this out. Yeah. Okay. All right. Getting back on track. Let's check out the next board game on the list. You've got things like Slide Quest. Looks like something I could get for me and my daughter. So to make the ambition is to make the next great dexterity game. The solution is to lean hard into co-op gameplay and borrow tropes liberally from popular video games. Okay. So it's a labyrinth style. Hmm. Okay, we'll check out the opening intro of Star Lost. Yeah, later. Well, we can end the show with it. I just won't use any of the audio, lest we get um another copyright strike. But yes, thank you for the link. We'll check it out. Okay, Slide Quest. Um, all right. So up to 4 players gather around the game box, each with a simple yellow lever in hand. By pushing down, they can coax their blue plastic hero along the righteous path to victory. The movement of that figure, um, of that miniature is buttery smooth thanks to a massive ball bearing lodged in its base. Only one season. I wonder if it's like up for free on YouTube or something. These guys didn't stop at 1 or 2 maps. The game comes with 20 different maps, each pulled from 4 different thematic worlds. Okay, lay them all out and they form a single contiguous storyline. Oh, nice. Oh, these are the other maps. Cool. Okay. There's even a light bar and rules for a roguelike mode of play. Expect expansions galore, and the plastic tray at the core of the game is cleverly designed with lots of room for new bits of scenery to get added down the line. Nice. Side Quest is available now already online and in stores, and you can learn more at their official website. Let's check it out. BlueOrangeGames.e. Doki. Let's see. Looks so cute too. I'm gonna play the video. Yeah, okay, with the volume cut out just to see if they show how the board works. Like I would love to get something like this for me and my daughter to play because she's going on 4 years old. You've tried Snakes and Ladders. It's just not as exciting for her, given the other forms of games and media out there. So it needs to be a bit more engaging, really. Oh, you're tilting the board. Okay. Cool. And there's an end game too. This looks pretty awesome. Does the Polygon article mention how much? No, it doesn't. Does this mention how much it costs? No, it doesn't. Um, hmm. No. All right, let's see if this other link shows us. It's $20. It's $20. That's like 1,000. Yeah, that's like just 1,000 pesos. I would totally get this if it just cost 1,000 bucks. Wait, what is 20 USD? Yeah, it's there you go. It's like just a bit over. It's like 1,000 pesos and change. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Wish I could order this online, but shipping is probably gonna cost a ton, to be honest. Okay, let's check out what else. Ooh, these are Time of Legends Zone of Arc. So, what is this? Yeah, the production looks great, doesn't it? And I like how you're just, it's easy for kids to get, and it teaches them how to, it's a co-op game, or it could be solo if you had a kid with. I guess that's the dexterity part of it. If you play this solo, yeah, very accessible. True. So the entire series is on YouTube. Star Lost. I'll probably check it out. Some cheesy 70s sci-fi goodness. Yep. So this next game is Joan of Arc, and I didn't know that she fought a kick-ass dragon, or is it wyvern? Because you can see that it's kind of the arms are merged into the wings. So, Time of Legends, Joan of Arc. Ambition is to make epic scale miniatures wargaming fun and affordable. Hmm. while enabling intimate story-driven play as well. The solution is to use modern manufacturing techniques to cram in as much detail as possible at the 15 mm scale. Miniatures wargaming has long had two main scales. The classic is the 28 millimeter used in Warhammer and pretty much every miniatures heavy board game out there. There's also the 15 millimeter scale, which is reserved for massive battles in the Flames of War system and more niche titles like Drop Zone Commander. Um, 28 millimeter minis are usually detailed and pretty, while the 15 millimeter ones aren't that much. The production process makes them all look a little soft and mushy. So Joan of Arc changed the author's mind. The map we have scrolling in the background is cool. What is that? It is the um I think it's part of a map of Neverwinter and its surrounding areas. Yeah. I don't know where JP got it, but we've just been using it. Presumably, he got permission from the artist to use it, as he usually does. That's what he would do early on in Dicecast's, in Dicecast's inception. Like he would approach artists, ask them if it was cool with them if he used some of their assets on the website, on the videos. Because back then we didn't stream, or they didn't stream. That was before I came aboard. So yeah, I think yeah, this is the file name is Neverwinter Video Low. So yeah, I'm guessing it's actually like city of Neverwinter and its surrounding villages and stuff and areas. Ah, thanks. I'm glad that you love it, and it is a very nice hand drawn map. So Joan of Arc, by Mythic Games, they're producing some of the most extraordinary minis that um, the author has seen in years, with dynamic poses and impressively detailed faces. And they're managing to do it at the 15mm scale. That means dozens of cavalry riding in formation with a very small footprint and towering monsters that look incredible on the table. And best of all, since there's less material involved in the manufacturing process, you can own a massive collection with multiple factions for less than the cost of a single army in other larger scale systems. Trouble is, you literally can't buy the game right now. Um, the people at Mythic say that they're just not really sure how they want to move the production line forward. According to the blog post, there's a retail core set that should be out later this year. Um, but yeah, Joan of Arc would also make a great mini wargame line sold piecemeal on hobby store shelves. Whatever happens, you can check out their Kickstarter campaign, which includes reprints from the first successful campaign and a bunch of new minis as well. So we'll go to the links. This is the core set for the Joan of Arc Time of Legends game right here. Nice. And you have here an expansion coming in the fall of 2019, the Teutonic Knights. Cool. And this is their Kickstarter. It looks to be very successful. Looks to have been very successful rather. Their initial target was just 100,000 and they made over uh 2 million. Nice. Okay. Let's see what else they've got for us. So they've got some. Ooh, is this a new Marvel card game? Interesting. Got Carol Danvers, Black Panther, Tony Stark, and Spidey. Marvel Champions, the card game. The ambition is to bring Marvel fans to the table for a cutting edge card game, and the solution is to reinvent the classic living LCG system pioneered by Fantasy Flight Games. Is this an FFG product? So FFG has always had um, a lot of irons in the fire. I mean, something's always cooking over at FFG, and this year's Gen Con was no exception. In addition to Clone Wars era expansions for Star Wars Legion and a handful of high concept licensed board games, they also brought along the near final version of Marvel Champions, the card game. It's the newest product in its successful line of living card games. It looks pretty simplistic. Okay. Well, okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're probably really trying to like make it super accessible, no? So, yeah, pros and cons. Marvel Champions uses lots of the same mechanics as the Minnesota-based developer's long-running LOTR, the living card game. But it does so in new and dynamic ways that clearly evoke the fun of the Marvel Universe. The game is entirely cooperative, with four heroes going up against an iconic villain. Each of the heroes has a two-sided card with their alter ego on one side and their superhero form on the other. She-Hulk, for instance, flips from Jennifer Walters, who battles villains in the courtroom, and then um, once enraged, goes into She-Hulk mode and kicks all kinds of ass. Okay. Best of all, Marvel Champions is super simple to teach. Okay, so yeah, it does seem that would be like pretty simplistic feedback from Dice Chuck. Uh, look for it on store shelves later this year, and follow along at FFG's official website for more info. Let's check it out. If it's based on the same LOTR card game, then it's not simplistic. Could be that they've simplified it. That might be what they went with. FFG's LTR card game, you have it, and it's a great game. Cool. I've yet to try that myself. I would love to though. This next game is called Parks. Looks lovely. Seriously, that art looks so good. Reminds me of this game called something the dark. Hang on. It's a survival game on Steam. Um, or is it night? Something in the night. Gosh, what? Can't find it in my library. The Long Dark. There you go. Reminds me of The Long Dark in terms of like art and stuff. But yeah. So Parks is a game with whose ambition is to put a chilled out, non-violent game on the table that's actually fun to play. The solution is to apply art from the 59 Parks print series. So this was one of the most striking new games on the floor at this year's GenCon, along with Black Angel. So the big draw here is the game art, which is sourced from a novel art project celebrating the Department of the Interior's National Park System. Tales from the game, as well as t-shirts and posters related to the project, go back to help fund America's most iconic natural spaces. Oh, I wish there was something like this locally. Um, oh, there was this like board game by our very own, I think, DENR, Department of Energy and Natural Resources. It was called God, what is it called? But basically, it was a card game about um sustainable like practice and stuff, like putting up a business and using sustainable practices. It's pretty cool. It was pretty simplistic, but pretty cool. But yeah, Park isn't just another pretty face. It's a complete package with interesting Euro-inspired game mechanics and top-notch pack-ins to keep everything organized. Copies sold out quickly this year, but you can expect more to be available this fall. So yeah, that's it for Polygon's roundup of the most ambitious new board games at Gen Con. Um, we will go through the last of the Polygon articles today before I take a quick break to rest my voice a bit and get some water. Um, Yeah, but uh, the last of our articles from Polygon today, also by Charlie Hall, is how the pen and paper RPG, Cyberpunk. You may have seen us report about it previously. We have featured Cyberpunk Red, its jumpstart kit, before on the stream. And yeah, Polygon is saying that it may be the key to understanding the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077, an RPG, I think open world, yeah, open world RPG set in the same universe as the tabletop RPG and made by the people behind The Witcher 3. So, CD Projekt Red has a well earned reputation as masters of the computer RPG genre. Um, its work on The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt is regarded not just as a technical achievement, but as an example of how dynamic and expansive the storyline of a AAA quality video game franchise can be. So the next game is a near future epic called Cyberpunk 2077, and it's less than a year away. So I have not that long to upgrade my system specs so I can play this damn thing. While not many details are known about the game's storytelling, fans have the unique opportunity to experience its world well ahead of time. That's because the prequel was released just last week in the form of a pen and paper RPG system called Cyberpunk Red. Polygon was given early access to the Jumpstart Kit, which is a starter set from the universe's original creators, Artas Lorien Games. They were also invited to experience a 5-hour unpublished adventure led by co author David Ackerman. This makes this a comprehensive and entirely spoiler free review of the anticipated pen and paper game. So, welcome to Night City, a sprawling metropolis between Los Angeles and San Fran, and the year is 2045. Oh, okay. Is this a in character account? So, with the elevator doors open, a murky tide of algae covered seawater rolled in around the party's ankles. More than 20 years ago, when terrorists set off the tactical nuke over Night City, the shockwave caused the soil itself to relax. Buildings that weren't instantly blown apart eventually tilted and collapsed as the Pacific Ocean returned, infiltrating the landfill packed in below the city streets. Despite all that, somehow the malevolent AI had survived undetected, sipping just enough juice off Night City's power grid to keep its mainframe purring inside the sub-basement's hardened steel vault. A tech-savvy netrunner named Red Eye and her gunslinging friends were there to crack it open. Over top of the muck, holographic emitters flickered to life to reveal dozens of figures, each one framed in a pillar of blue light. The nearest one passed right through them. No, 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 said the apparition of a well heeled businessman. Buy Microtech at 20, then drop it when it hits 22. He stopped suddenly, standing still for a moment. His face looked suddenly frightened. Of course not, he said, catching himself to scold the person on the other end of the line. It's never going to happen here. Wait, what's that? The emitters flared, filling the room for one terrible instant with a brilliant white light. Okay. Fun fact from Dice Chuck, the original Blade Runner takes place in 2019, and he would like his flying car now, please. Other fun fact, well, not so fun fact, really, is that uh is that Rutger Hauer yeah, died this year. So like the actor died the same year his character died in the fictional universe. It's sadly it's a pretty sad coincidence. So yeah, rest in peace, Rutger Hauer. Um, back to Cyberpunk Red. At its core, it is a slim volume. It has a slim volume called the World Book, and inside, that's where the authors, Mike Pondsmith, David Ackerman, Jay Gray, James Hutt and Cody Pondsmith retell the future history of the planet. A friend of yours acted in a film with Rutger Hauer. How did that go? Like, I think like from all of the accounts that came out, you know, they were like he seemed to be like a really like chill and upstanding guy. They were in Hobo with a Shotgun together, and it's filmed just over an hour away from. Let's check that out. Hobo with a Shotgun. Ooh, I want to see the trailer. I'm gonna. Of course, it remains muted, but yeah, we can just check it out. Power was amazing. Need. Oh, okay. Need money for lawnmower. This looks so good. I'm gonna try and find a way for me to watch this actual movie. He looks so pissed off at everything. Gang member number three. I'll watch out for him. I'll watch out for him. Xander. Xander. Rossborough. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Ugh. Ugh. Oh my god. All right. I hope no kids are watching the stream. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. When they found he did the sound and music on the film, and then when they found out he was into martial art, he was a martial artist. They put him in the film as gang member number three. That's so cool. I should vary my skill set a bit more so I can get the same. I would love to be like a random like extra. All right. Let's get back to Cyberpunk. So at the core, so rather than a simple point of departure, um, the 51-page soft cover tells a story of a society falling into chaos by degrees. Okay, so there's a timeline cataloging the steady breakdown of groundbreaking technologies. Wayward governments, serially incapable of protecting their own citizens, and then the near apocalyptic events known as the Fourth Corporate War. So imagine World War III brought about by the likes of Amazon and Lockheed Martin instead of, as opposed to like America, the US, the governments of the USA and China, and you've only begun to scratch the surface. Interesting. Reading between the lines of Cyberpunk Red's World Book, you can see its authors giving our modern day troubles a sardonic side eye. Things are pretty bad right now. They seem to be saying, but what would happen if they got a hell of a lot worse? What if pockets of the world erupted with actual nuclear fire? And what if the climate collapsed suddenly and without warning, pulling the global economy along with it? And what if the only way forward was to arm yourself to the teeth, lace your guts together with the latest black market tech, and then go back to work as a mercenary for the most powerful businesses left standing? And if you're willing to explore the less than legal means to put yourself and the people you love into a better financial situation, then you might just, be all set for the world of Cyberpunk Red. Cool. I've always said I've had a bit of trouble running, even playing in, like Cyberpunk tabletop RPGs. Um, and I definitely need more stuff like this. Things that kind of um, frame the cyberpunk genre and playing characters in cyberpunk, creating stories in cyberpunk in a more than, like hackers, you know, giving it to the man, in more nuanced way than that. And this is a nice like encapsulation of what it means, of what, yeah, how one would put together like a cyberpunk character or, um, yeah, run a cyberpunk RPG as the game master. Very nice. I am saving this just for these couple of paragraphs. Um, Even as its authors chronicle the laundry list of the atrocities that brought our society low, they also pencil into the margins a strong uh, through line of hope. Yeah, the genre, not the game. But then, you gotta understand genre before you even run the game, right? That's built on it. And that's the trouble I often have with cyberpunk. Yeah, the genre, not the game. Um, the world book itself is cast as an artifact, lovingly handed down from generation to generation. The disruption of international trade and network communications makes it possibly the only record of its kind. And the fictional editor is none other than Valentina Santiago, the daughter of Nomad Santiago, a displaced farmer pushed off his land some 40 years previous by greedy corporations. Okay. And just like the world book itself, the most powerful stories in the universe of Cyberpunk Red are the ones that get told about family. And the kit itself pushes on the idea as if it's an open wound, challenging players to grapple with what the concept of family really means to them. So, in 1988, the original Cyberpunk pen and paper RPG was first published by Artist Lorien Games alongside an exhaustive combat system known as Friday Night Firefight, also known also referred to as FNFF. This covered all manner of combat with small arms, rocket launchers, melee weapons, you name it. But given the success of streamlined rule sets like 5th Ed D&D, and no doubt the limitations of the starter set format itself, Artist Lorien Games has opted to launch Cyberpunk Red with what it calls a modified rule set, but perhaps abbreviated would have been a more apt term. Hey, Maury, thank you for joining the stream. Welcome, welcome. Oh, yes. Thank you for correcting that. So let's update that to um, August 12th. Wait, what? Do I have to unmerge this? Can't set data in this merge cell. Active filter view. Okay, what is an active filter view? I am searching for this problem on Google. Hang on. Let me try and fix that. Um, hmm. Hey, welcome back, Eric. What let you back in? Hey Shadzar, thank you for tuning in. Someone get tugboats and pull the Philippines closer to the rest of the world. Always wake up late even though I set an alarm to be here. It's okay, man. And yeah, I can't seem to change it. I don't know why. Sorry. But thank you for, bringing it up that the date is off. But I don't know why is it not doing that. I am probably just gonna disable um the frozen thing so I can scroll past it. Eric's internet wasn't happy with the stream for a short bit. Ah, yeah, that does happen sometimes. Okay, so back to Cyberpunk Red. So it has a modified rule set. It's abbreviated, meaning it's not as meaty or crunchy, probably as the or it's more streamlined than Cyberpunk, classic Cyberpunk is. While the world building and storytelling in the Jumpstart kit are top of the line, apparently the underpinning combat systems are a bit barren. Altogether, they occupy slightly more than 5 pages of text. The rules for netrunners or the hackers are also painfully brief. Lots of detail on how to manage both combat and non-combat encounters is left open to interpretation, especially when it comes to pacing the action at the table. And the fact of the matter is that there's just not a lot of mechanical detail for fledgling game masters to hold on to. So you're pretty much gonna run things by the book, I think, is what that means. So in starter sets or beginner sets, you usually get quick start sets. Um, you usually like have an adventure, and that sets the GM up. Um, what I'm getting from this is that you just kind of have to. You won't be able to wing it because there's not a lot for you to work with if the players go off the tracks of the adventure. Like, yeah, even experienced game masters will be hard pressed in their first few times out of the gate. Let's see. Streams working fine on Twitch, quality options and everything. Um, right, Maury, that's exactly correct. We use Restream to reach to multi-stream to YouTube, Mixer, FB, and Twitch all at the same time. And yes, no wonder the grades in quality. Yeah, it's yeah, pros and cons. Really, violation of the Twitch affiliate contract. You can't stream to any other site due to 24-hour exclusivity clause. We will have to review, yeah, exactly like what our affiliate contract says. I'm not actually not sure if we're even affiliates at this point. We may have lost that status a while back, but yeah, we will review what the terms of service are with Twitch. Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't even know. I just like hop on here and then you know blab away for a couple of hours every week. Oh, we keep affiliate, really? Huh? Are we partnered? I'm not even sure, to be honest. You only need to earn $100 within a 1 year period to keep affiliate. Hmm. Did we earn $100? I'm not sure. But yes, thank you for pointing these out. We will review like the terms of service, yeah, on Twitch and all that. Thanks for letting us know. Where the Cyberpunk Red system excels is in teaching GMs to follow the player's lead when it comes to storytelling. There's no better example than the introductory adventure titled The Apartment. So it does an excellent job of narrowing the game's focus from the macro to the micro, and players are presented with just a handful of endearing characters early on. And the GMs are encouraged to use those relationships as kindling for personal and emotional connections. Cool. It all makes sense when you think of those NPCs as the members of the player's extended families. No one is forcing the people at the table to fall in love with these fictional neighbors, but the GM will certainly make them try. And if they succeed, the GMs have the green light to stick in the emotional knife and go for the jugular. And that kind of ruthless storytelling goes a long way towards papering over the obvious holes in this starter set. All right. So, yeah. Um, Unlike other modern starter sets that hand players everything they need to run 20 or 30 hours of gameplay, the Jumpstart Kit demands more from the group that comes together around the table. That kind of enforced DIY ethos is a welcome addition to the tabletop ecosystem, according to the author. Rather than yoking players to the whims of the devs, Artisaurian Games is setting them free to explore Night City in any way they see fit. The year is 2045, and CD Projekt's next game doesn't kick off for another 32 years in universe. It's an awful lot of space to fill, and yeah, but apparently it's people who do get the Jumpstart Kit are in for some exciting times. This red font? Oh, this is Polygon's doing. This is how like all their like subheaders look like. So good job to Polygon. um all right. So going on to I did mention I would take a short break after this article. Um just to get some water, just to get some drinks and maybe a small bite. So I am gonna leave you guys for a couple of minutes, and I will be right back. I am gonna put you on our BRB screen. I think there's some music playing there. I think, and I think as of JP's last update, song requests do work. I haven't eaten lunch yet, but I'm okay. Like I can eat it, like 2:30. I'll be fine. I just need to. Yeah, it's more of a drink that I need. So yeah, intermission. I yeah, song requests might be working. So go ahead if feel free to play around with that. And okay, yeah, it's 2:20 a.m. over in Canada. Thank you for tuning in and keeping us company, Dice Chuck. Yeah, have a good night. Go get some rest. And yeah, keep the dice rolling. So yeah, I will be back in 5. See you guys in a bit. Please don't go anywhere. Okay. I guess some of you had some trouble with, still have some trouble with the song requests feature. I will let JP know. Or maybe I did something wrong. Maybe it's my fault. I will ask. I will see what's up. Like I'm not gonna hear the music on my end, right? Like through OBS at all. It's just really on the stream. Yeah, I checked the sound earlier and it's just really on. Yeah, nothing's coming through. So I will let JP know. But yeah, thank you for testing it out. Anyway, yeah, see you, Dice Jack. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, have a good night. Let us get on to our next topic. So this one is about D&D. We have a couple of D&D topics in today. This first one is it really possible to create, well, according to the author, uh, a quote unquote incompetent ass clown in D&D? Like, can you make a bad character? Is there such a thing as I know there's like optimization, but like, what about just a character who just plain sucks at what they do? Can it be done? According to Cecilia de Anastasio, she says that it is surprisingly hard. And yeah, let's see what she has to report. So the great escapist fantasy of D&D is that you are not a salary person shoveling handfuls of gummy bears into your mouth and rolling 20-sided dice. Rather, you are a singularly important hero with a singular capacity to disarm some impending plot bomb. It's a time tried formula, one that basically spawned an entire industry of role playing games. But let's pause on that and consider a less trodden way to play D&D, being an incompetent dimwit. Um, Sucking in totality is just not something D&D readily accommodates. And yet, playing an idiotic character tests everything you knew about D&D, from the core of its mechanics to the way you navigate your dungeon master's plot. um, it is a pretty cool topic. It is a pretty interesting angle. I've never considered playing D&D as like a someone, you know, that constantly fails. But then you do have characters like that, right? In fantasy fiction, you have what? Just and I know he's not like this in the books, but like in the movies of Lord of the Rings, um you have Mary, Meriadoc, Brandybuck, the Klutz, right? And like he should be, like he's a viable uh character archetype to play in D&D. It's not wrong to have the Duns um as one of the characters. So yeah, let's see. It really is quite an interesting topic. Shadzar says, sadly, Kotaku doesn't really know anything about games in the first place. Okay, so I'm surprised they can even play D&D to begin with, because it's not just about mashing buttons. Boom, burn. Um, find it Finding it fitting that someone at Kotaku wants to play an incompetent character because they're trying to. Aw, that's a bit okay. But what they're looking for is not D&D, but just any sort of RP. There are better games for storytelling, and D&D isn't made for it. It's made for combat. Yeah, that's you know y- you could argue both sides of that. I'd say, especially with the way Fifth Ed is made, um, and just I know D&D doesn't spell it exactly that way right out of the gate, but it's surprisingly versatile. You could do a lot with D&D, like especially if you play other RPGs and kind of want to bring those elements, into your D&D gameplay, um, into your D&D campaign rather, as a either a story as a DM or as a player. There's like lots of ways to play D&D. Um, anyway, of course not in AL, but I'm talking strictly homebrew. Like your own like gaming group. Um, but yes, let's see. Sucking in totality. Okay. On Sunday, the author made Vico, the Veach, Vadalucci. He's a dwarven acquirer of things, a man of business, a hobbyist gamer, a gambler with a New Jersey Italian accent, the kind of guy who says he can get you anything, whether it fell off the back of a cart somewhere or he knows a guy who knows a guy with some connections in rare portions. The Veach might leave a room for 30 seconds and come back saying he just consulted with his buddy outside, who told him to ask the quest giver for more gold. In truth, the only product he can reliably come by is toy dolls for his beloved little daughter. Aw. And he has essentially no business connections at all. He's full of shit, and he can't do anything, at least anything epic. So that's a good point. A hammer is versatile, made for inserting and removing nails. Just because you can smash a jar of pickles with it to open them doesn't really mean you should. To be fair though, like RPGs aren't just one tool; it's a whole bag of tools, and you're able. Think of it more as a toolkit than one tool. I think that's a closer analogy. But yes, I do understand your point. Like D&D isn't designed for a lot of like other modes of you know of role playing, but it could be if you change some stuff out. And there's nothing stopping you from doing that really in homebrew. Um, okay. So the author would like to clear up that she was not purposefully sabotaging the campaign. So yeah. Um, Inventing an incompetent stooge and inserting him into a party of sharpened blades with lofty personal fitness goals runs a high risk of making everyone have a bad time if they're focused on taking down baddies and amassing treasure. And that wasn't their vibe in that particular play session. They were all about role playing dummies and telling a good story. So the Veach was within bounds and wasn't uh, like an out of left field, thing pulled on the other players at the table. So the only problem was making sure his stats matched his unskilled character. Um, um, in D&D, in the player's handbook, the PC is described as someone who can solve puzzles, battle fantastic monsters, and discover fabulous magic items and other treasure. And that's how the game is assigned. Really, those are the core experiences that the game espouses. So making a character who can't do these things is surprisingly tricky. For example, first a player must choose a character class like sorcerer, ranger, bard, and so on. By even falling into one of these classes, each of which demarcates a player as someone with special capacities, the PC is immediately assumed to be a little more powerful or have a little more potential than the norm. So the Veach is a phony and a plot catalyst, which made it hard as hell for the author to fill out abilities and statistics on his D&D character sheet. Um, so she chose to make him a cleric of Timora, the trickster goddess, also known as Lady Luck. Um, he was someone who had to rely on his charisma to keep up the charade. He definitely was not a powerful sorcerer, an artistic bard, or a holy paladin warrior. The Veach could gamble to his heart's content thanks to being a devotee of Timora. He could disguise himself as magic and make mirror images of himself, and it all fit. Alongside that, he also had this whole intermediary between the mortal world and the distant planes of the gods thing going on. He could proficiently battle with a warhammer and could casually turn dead right off the bat. Catching up with chat, D&D, like all games, is based on a on not a vacuum that these articles place concepts into, but on who the people you're playing with want to work together. Not the global concept, but the micro world of exactly the people you are playing with. Not someone in Antarctica that you haven't met before. Okay, yeah, that's true. Like um, yeah, that's how it is. Um, let's see. After choosing the class, she filled out his stats. Players in D&D can either roll or assign predetermined scores. So for the Veach to be bad at everything, according to the author's intent, just a very sad man. except with maybe charisma-based things, since this bullshit is believable, supposed to be believable. The predetermined stats, which are 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8, the standard array, as they are called, all indicate that the player is for the most part well above the average, which is 10. So they chose to roll dice, hoping that he would find no success. And yeah, the way you do that standard is 4d6, drop the lowest and add the rest. So the Veach turned out to have ridiculously high stats in every category. The Veach is being falsely premised by being placed in a vacuum. I'm assuming OS is of just the PHB, not based on actually playing. Oh, they were. I think the article said that she played this with with their group, and in fact, the whole group was trying to be incompetent. So I'm not sure. Like, I think that's what they mentioned. A couple of paragraphs in. So anyway, when they rolled the scores, he turned out to have high wisdom and I guess high con, as formidable as a brick wall. He was persuasive and as a seasoned used car salesman, and also pretty strong, so high strength. His lowest stat was intelligence. You missed. If you want, here's the link. I think the problem. So what I did today was put all the links like at the start of the stream. Um, I can see that may be problematic. Um, so allow me to post the link here for your benefit, in case you want to read along with me. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna go back to the old system of posting links as we start going through each article. So there you go. Where is that part? Hear this. Lest it come off like I was purposefully sabotaging the campaign, the author says that um, yeah, the party on that Sunday was all about role playing dummies and telling a good story. So everyone was like in on it. Oh dang! Oh, stay safe. Is it like I know in the US there's like Twister season or something, right? Is that like what it is where you are right now? I hope you stay safe, Shadzar. So yeah, after rolling stats, the author found out that the Veach was just too capable, and they hadn't even started the game yet. So the PHB says it's fine to break whatever rule you want in pursuit of a good game with lasting memories. Yet at the core of the role-playing game are some truths. Your character is special, and their class and stats make them even more special. There are other role-playing games out there that facilitate overt buffoonery and shittiness, but they just wanted to work um, for their little man, the Veach in D&D. Okay, so it's par for the course for you. Like nothing really to worry about too much. Okay. Well, still, just stay safe. Um. So in the first arc of the campaign, the Veach, that nickname is growing on me so bad. The Veach spent more time arguing his quest rates up with increasingly elaborate hoaxes than murdering goblins, which was expected. The campaign went on. They kept trying to up the ante with his ridiculousness and ended up tapping more and more into the Veach's cleric specific talents. Taking a mission off as a police officer, he duplicated himself and put on a mustache to pretend he wasn't, in fact, that Veach, a known criminal. In a temple dedicated to a more pure and good god who despises the undead, the Veach bragged that in fact he'd turned a couple of undead in his day. He wasn't about ghost ships, cursed bones, or cults amassing increasing power across the realm. The Veach was there to play the fool to his friends' more focused heroes in training. And even if the Veach wasn't, or that's the author, wasn't role playing completely true to his capacities, some of what made him super powerful made his super idiocy just that much better. Catching up with chat. The author had two problems: trying to do something that D&D isn't made for, which I guess is make incompetent characters, and number two, failed to work together as players to make it work in the game that they were playing. So, which goes back to what Shadzar was saying, is that or rather, the authors at Kotaku, in their opinion, don't seem to understand games. Seen plenty of stupid character and have clips from 5e games on Twitch to support dumb characters. Yeah, I think that's true. Like D&D, I do think that D&D is it makes it difficult for you to suck at stuff. um, like when even without rolling dice, like you get so you're so like as a player, you're so empowered to do awesome things right off the bat. I think in AD&D second edition, sure, like you could really suck at the at your character could really suck at stuff in AD&D second edition, um, because at first level you didn't really have a lot going for you unless you were a fighter or a wizard possibly. Um, yeah, but these days, like with fifth edition, I really do think it's hard to make a bad character. Um, like on the flip side, like you do have things like optimization. Um, yeah, like you have like in RPGs things like making optimized or OP or system breaking characters. And that's all well and good. Some people like to play that way, but yeah, I think in terms of like making someone completely incompetent, it's very hard to do that in D&D. Yes, exactly. In 5e, you're kind of yeah, you're the way it's described is that yes, you're made uh to be some kind of like superhero level character. The way I often run 5e, like I make it a point that like a player character in their class, NPCs aren't exactly like them, right? Like player characters playing a druid like are just more powerful than other NPC druids in general, unless it's like a like a nemesis type NPC who I have a full character sheet for. But yeah, like when they run into when the PC fighter runs into other fighters, like he knows he's better than them. Like he knows that he has kind of he's like in a different class altogether. But yeah, that's a big contrast from second edition where you're just like a first level character is like a just a step up from your average commoner, which is yeah. So in older versions, yeah, like what Chads are saying, you have to earn your glory, um, and you're not exactly yeah, like you don't have a lot going for first level PCs. So yeah, different styles of play. You know, it's 2E allows for low magic, high fantasy. Right. 2E, you can kind of still fiddle with those dials though. I would say that the way 5e, for example, handles magic items, like that gives you like a bit, that's one dial that it gives you to kind of adjust the level of magic in your fantasy setting. But yes, by default, it's like it's quite it's quite magical, for lack of a better term. Right, it's very forgiving in terms of death saves. But the thing is, in homebrew, if you don't like it, you can just throw that out of the window. That's the thing. And like the I don't know if it's in the player's handbook or the DMG, but um, the game does tell you to get rid of the rules that don't work for you guys. Magic is a part of your very body in five. Yeah, even Acquisitions Inc. Adventure with the cockroaches can't kill you as petrification. Right. Yeah. This I get what you're saying. Yeah. This article, like, I can I get what you're saying. Like this article, instead of going on about how D&D, how you can't make an incompetent character in D&D, right, with the vanilla rules. Like it could have been more about like what do you need to change. Like you could change the dice rolling method, for example. Like instead of 4d6 drop the lowest, like you could revert to the classic way of doing like just 3d6, right? You can't assign anything. You just go with whatever the dice give you. That's one way of uh, possibly making an incompetent character. You could what else? Um, yeah, 3d6 in order exactly. Um, you could what other things in in fifth ed could you change to enable you to to play someone incompetent? Mm, you could make all unskilled rolls roll at disadvantage. I guess that's a bit harsh, but yeah, I think that would go a long way towards so essentially if you're unskilled, if you want to play someone incompetent, play someone with low intelligence and suffer for your lack of skills and stuff. Oh no, but these days it's just proficiency. The article says it right there in the screen. It's fine to break whatever rules you want. Yeah, it's dead center in my screen share. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could give disadvantage on that PC's every roll. Like if you really wanted the PC to be epically incompetent, you could like you could work with the DM for a ruling where they have disadvantage on every roll, and if that's what the table finds fun, right? Then it's all good. It's all right. Um, you could also I don't know work on action economy. I guess so. Even in combat, they are epically bad. Like um you could make them have to choose have to choose what between moving and attacking. Can't do both, or maybe they're so. You could introduce a stat requirement for making reactions, like reactions have a minimum wisdom requirement or something, for example, something like that, or a minimum passive perception requirement, essentially. Anyway, let's get on to the next topic, also about D&D. This one was shared by Dice Chuck. Thank you so much, Dice Chuck, for pointing me to quite an interesting article about D&D. So it's about how um, this D&D game is rescuing kids from their social anxieties. So a game company called Game to Grow plays D&D with troubled children to help them connect with their peers. So games of D&D often involve saving the world. So sometimes they end up saving the players themselves. Game to Grow believes that the company uses a tailored D&D experience as a platform to help children who have trouble socializing. The goal is to provide them with a safe space to solve problems and learn to express themselves. Game to Grow was one of the official charity partners of the GenCon board game convention in in Indianapolis last weekend. The company officially launched a couple of years ago, but the founders, Adam Johns and Adam Davis, ooh, Adam and Adam, Each have more than 8 years of experience using games as a means to help children become more comfortable in social situations. Based in Seattle, Game to Grow is a nonprofit that runs tabletop RPG therapy gaming groups weekly for kids ages 8 to 20. They work with more than 50 kids a week, and many of whom are on the autism spectrum. The author had a chance to. The author is Andrew Gebhardt. This was from just 2 days ago, August 10. Okay. So the author had a chance to chat with the founders, and here's how Game to Grow works and why this version of D&D might actually save the world for the children who participate. So they're targeting issues. We are familiar with D&D, or I'm assuming we all are, given that you're watching this channel about tabletop RPGs. So we're gonna skip a bunch of this. With Game to Grow, the mission and the game are specifically designed to tackle the challenges of the participants. As as groups are formed, facilitators call um, parents to understand each child's particular goals and challenges. Interesting. So the parents are involved. Okay. So each session lasts an hour and a half and involves reflection questions before and after the actual game, giving facilitators a chance to see what aspects of the story are most interesting to each participant. Many of the children involved have autism, ADHD, anxiety, or depression, but Adam Johns calls the company agnostic to diagnosis. So, diagnosis can be informative, but at the end of the day, um, yeah, so they can give us information, but at the end of the day, I still want to know really where the goals are. Somebody has a diagnosis of autism that doesn't tell me anything about what their goals are or even what their challenges are. So while the company grew from Adam Davis's degree in drama therapy, he distinguishes the program from traditional therapy in a couple of key ways. Kids with social disorders are often taught how to blend in and mask who they are to fit better. He calls it social camouflage and mentioned the institutionalized shame that comes with who you are as an autistic person. That is not the goal of Game to Grow. So they see kids that are burned out on therapy, that don't want to come back to therapy, but the kids come to their group week after week. It's the one thing they don't want to miss, says Adam Johns. Part of what we do, according to Adam Davis, is we say you are yourself and that is okay. You can participate and we can celebrate your uniqueness and your unique skill set. So, spreading the fun, Game to Grow has a wait list. The company picks groups by hand while looking for the best fit for each child. So, when there's an appropriate opening, a child can find a group within a week. The company itself is growing and um, now has employees to help facilitate groups. But you need to be in the Seattle area, to participate, and the demand is growing. That's where Critical Core comes in. Critical Core is a boxed version of D&D to help those with social challenges. Game to Grow launched it earlier this year via a crowdfunding campaign in collaboration with occupational therapist Virginia Spielman. The Critical Core kit includes guides and adventures to get started. It's aimed at therapists, parents, or any interested party in using RPGs as a therapeutic activity. So, thanks in part to a shout out from Matt Mercer on Critical Role, the Critical Core campaign soared past the fundraising goal and is due to ship this winter. So, for Game to Grow itself, expansion is on the table, but they're still figuring out the best way to do it. In the short term, our goal is expanding our group so that we can serve more people in the greater Seattle area. So, it's still very limited in terms of scope. The Adams mentioned the possibility of an official certification program and even expanding their own operation to different cities in the future. But for now, they're training therapists, teachers, librarians, and community leaders through consultations and presentations at various conferences. We know we're never going to run groups across the world. Instead, we'd rather train other people to get their own groups started. Interesting. So it's like kind of, it's quite grassroots in nature. Let's catch up with chat. Shadzar shares that he thinks it's a bad idea While good in theory, the problem is when they go out into the real world to play D&D, they aren't going to find safe spaces and can be seen as can be seen with mobile games and microtransactions. Some of these kids don't understand all the parts of things. The addictive nature of both mobile games and D&D can lead to problems, and I've heard of this from a GM with an autistic child. Interesting. Okay. Eric says in Singapore, they also have groups which teach D&D to kids to give them alternate self-generated activities. This protects them from being preyed upon by the gangs who use the areas these kids are in as recruitment grounds. Okay. Shadzar says shares they need to make sure they clearly draw lines that this isn't the normal thing to find in D&D or the real world. See, even the article presents the addictive nature of the game, which should not be used. Needs a variety of activities to allow people to open up. But Seattle is D&D land, so they have to make everything about D&D. I didn't see the addictive stuff. I might have missed that, but I would speaking to the idea that what they learn in D&D they can't take out into the real world. As an educator, it for you to learn something and use it doesn't have to be a one is to one correspondence. Um, Basically, like taking picking up something from D&D. Like it doesn't have to be there doesn't have to be a one is to one correlation to like the real world um um for it to be for them to use like whatever they use in D&D in the real world. Okay, got it. The part where they don't want to come back to therapy, they got burned out but want to come back week after week. I don't know. It's the I don't think that's as much the addictive nature of D&D as it is um I think they put that in there like to kind of highlight the effectiveness of the program because as they were saying like traditional therapy wasn't working for these kids and so they found a way to kind of deliver for them. But anyway, yeah, going back to taking the way learning works, like it doesn't have to be a one is to one correlation. um for example, um what the D&D, calculating like kids learning, getting better math scores for example out of D&D is not so much because you do equations in D&D, right? Like you're not doing quadratic equations, you're not working on what like proving logic in geometry. It's just because your mind is engaged to like even if it's below the surface to look at numbers and you're weighing your chances. They're not necessarily um performing calculations when they're playing D&D, but they are considering the role of like like what like how odds work. And really that's like it's kind of there and like it should be similar like in terms of the soft skills that D&D teaches. He used to do equations in well not when playing, right? Like you're just rolling dice. Oh wait, let's go on to before we judge this program even more. There is a chapter about does it work. So let's check it out. Even when kids report that they're doing fine in everyday life, a lot of times that's because they've never had an opportunity to know what it is to have a friend and to know what it is to feel connected, said Adam Johns. When they come to our groups, they build that connectedness. They build that opportunity for relationship with other kids. Game to Grow doesn't have official inbound or outbound evaluations to determine progress. All of the results are anecdotal. Parents will relate that their child dealt with their own aggression better or socialized more. Adam Davis notes that the company's 94% retention rate is an indicator that the kids enjoy being there and and want to come back. Um, the facilitators will check in with parents as necessary, but for the most part, once kids are in the group, the focus is simply to give them the space and structure needed for them to express themselves in a friendly social setting. The most amazing thing about it, maybe beyond all the behavioral changes, is the appreciation for coming and doing social that they've never had before. Cool. Okay. So I think that these are ads. Okay. I think that's it for the article. So that's the end of it. Yes, it is. So it ends here. Um. So yeah. I think the tools that they're coming out with, like I said, so there's like in D&D, there's an amazing opportunity like for educators. If you use it in an educational setting, for rather, it's an amazing tool to use to teach soft skills. Teamwork, uh, collaboration, um, teamwork, collaboration. What? Um, Empathy, right? Putting yourself in the shoes of other people. It's pretty. It's with a DM running it, like with those kind of objectives in mind. Yeah, like D&D can be an amazingly effective tool at teaching these things. And yeah, there's like uh, we featured a bunch of articles that talk about the educational value of D&D. Even yeah, those talking about how they help troubled kids. I think this is the first one we've featured that talks about specifically like helping kids on the spectrum. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's see. In the old days, Thaco isn't an equation. It's just a reversed. Anyway, um, in the old days, everything was better and more challenging. Why does anything change? Yeah. The idea is good. The execution is flawed. Well, I'm not sure we got a lot on the execution of it. Like, they didn't detail how exactly, like how exactly Critical Core works. Actually, I wish there's a link here. Let's check out like how critical. Let's see if there's details on how Critical Core actually works. Critical Core is a tabletop role-playing game designed to help kids on the spectrum build social skills and confidence. Great way for parents to engage your kids at home. I think we featured this before. Actually, I'm not sure. JP, if you're still here, like I'm not sure if we've. I think we featured this, haven't we? Quick facts. Okay. Okay, when running games with young players on the spectrum, parent or certified therapist should be present. Yeah, I think we went through this. Yeah, you're right. If you caught that stream, experienced gamers will be able to integrate Critical Core into their favorite platform. Rule set is adapted and streamlined from D&D 5th Ed's Open SRD. It's a great introduction to RPGs from everyone. So yeah, I think it's pretty light. If it's based on Open SRD, there's probably not a lot of feats in there. Probably. Let's see. There's a facilitators guide. Got some adventure modules. 4 sets of dice. Okay. Nice. Um. Okay, the thinking behind the game. There we go. Critical Core is fit for purpose, designed to help neurodiverse players get started and stay engaged. At the same time, facilitators are involved with the right tools to make the experience effective without it feeling like therapy, which is probably why it works for kids who are burned out on traditional methods of therapy. Interesting. Each encounter the players face is targeted to help build strengthen areas that are related to challenges associated with autism spectrum disorder. It's scaffolded around the DIR floor time model, and the game encounters map to the FEDC framework. Let's Google this. Well, we're taking a deep dive right now, like into the work these guys are doing. I'm actually quite curious. Um, but all of this is under the hood, and at its heart, Critical Core is simply fun to play. Okay. Each adventure is a multi chapter story, a living book designed to deliver specific challenges and rewarding experiences. As players move through the foothills and into the mountains, something stands in their way. Um, at first, players may think they can overcome this obstacle through combat, but closer inspection reveals there may be another solution. So each game challenge helps to strengthen specific skill domains as players move through the story. If it does have feats, checking in on chat, you risk triggering those choices in some autistic, like which feats. But yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if they customized all the feats or didn't have them in there altogether, like to kind of streamline the system. Because even in 5e, like feats are optional, are an optional system to work with. So yeah, um, because gameplay, like they're trying to make this a tool for therapy. It's not so much like depth of gameplay, because you can see here, like these are the things they're focusing on. Um, social skill, like building social skills, building teamwork, building the ability to look past things, and kind of uh, look deeper into situations. Right. Okay. Some people on this on the spectrum have problems choosing among large lists. Right. No, I get that. I experience a lot of choice paralysis. That's so I totally get that. Um, cause, effect, and collaboration. Should the players attempt to communicate, read his expression? Oh, that's nice. Okay. Is there anything out of the ordinary that may give an advantage, and the players need to work together to find a solution? That's pretty cool. I see what they're doing. Core development. There we go. From Dr. Stanley Greenspan's model, these are the building blocks of development and growth through repetition. Although the stories are and encounters are always new, players develop strength in a core set of fundamental skills that can transfer to real world growth. So this is directly addressing what you're mentioning earlier, that they can't take these skills into the real world. So you already have, things like regulation, ability to calm the self, show interest in the world. Sorry, zoomed in so we can see it better. But I think that threw off. There we go. Can I just open this in a new tab? There we go. Much better. So yeah, regulation, engagement, being aware of others and making emotional connections, purposeful communication, engage and transmit, in transmit and response cycles, um, complex communication and problem solving, sense of self, solve problems, symbolic thinking. There we go. Symbolic play and communication, logical thinking, multi-perspective thinking. Perhaps A is happening because of B and C. Gray area thinking. Something can be right and wrong depending on the perspective. And reflective thinking. How am I feeling? Am I more happy, more upset than usual? So there you go. Like you're asking about like what they would actually get out of this, and if this would be useful. And yeah, like I was saying, like for people to learn something, it doesn't need to be a one is to one correspondence. Like all of this happens under the hood, and the fact that they are targeting these developmental goals is through an RPG is nothing short of amazing. And welcome to the stream, Jamie. Thank you for tuning in. And it is very, very cool. I would have loved to pitch this to my the school I formerly worked. because it was an inclusive school, and I think they could use something like this very, very much. So okay, cool. Um, nice. So yeah, that was about um, Game to Grow. So made by the Adams, Adam Johns, and Adam Davis. This is happening in Seattle. Eric mentioned that they kind of do this in Singapore too, as something of a counseling tool, right? To give them alternate self-generated activities. About the doctor, I think it just meant that the requirement was that if you're running this, you should have a parent or a therapist on hand. Like you don't need to be a doctor or a um, psychologist or psychiatrist to run the game, but they should be on hand to. They should be there to kind of help you guide you through it. It's very similar. Like I said, I used to work in an inclusive school. Um, what we would do is what used to happen was I would teach music there, and um, I would there would be an assistant teacher on hand specializing in special education, who is who's kind of there to help the children with special needs in your class. And often, like, what after the first few classes, you kind of work with them to develop like an alternative, an alternative um, path for the kids with special needs, and alternative like goals for them. Um, but yeah, so yeah, going back, like I don't think the requirement is part of the Kickstarter, but it just says that when you are like if you're going to use this game as intended as a tool for therapy and education, you will need to run this with a there you go. When running games with young players on the spectrum, parent or certified therapist should be present. So it's not part of the Kickstarter, but it's it's part of the advice, I guess, that comes to the game. Alrighty. Yes, it's still a child of D&D. I can see why the article would want you know th- you have to consider this article isn't written for hobbyists, right? And it does mention that they use critical core, so it does go into that granularity. It does go into that detail that it uses a boxed version of D&D to help those with social challenges. The headline, like you're gonna have to consider that this article wasn't written for people who are embedded in the hobby. It's on cnet.com. It's written for everyone else to kind of I would say that the objective is to draw attention to it and give like a general idea of what this thing is trying to accomplish, what Game to Grow is trying to accomplish. So I really don't have a problem with them saying it's D&D in the headline because it does kind of to the to the layman it does its job essentially is what I'm saying. um, let's go on to our next topic. So I think we're pretty much done with D&D. Jamie shares that she is glad to see so many different types of games that focus on inclusivity. Yeah, yeah, it's a big world, no? And people are, along with the advancements in understanding, how uh, um, how people with these disabilities, um, how they're how they perceive the world, right? And like what they need help in. It's nice to see like games, this hobby kind of stepping up and being able to, you know, help those that aren't necessarily helped by traditional therapy. So it's pretty cool. Right. I think I get your concern, Shadzar, that hopefully people look into Critical Core and not just like pick up default D and D and then try to shoehorn, try to use that for something it's not exactly well equipped uh, to be used for. But yes, so it's pretty helpful that they do link to Critical Core, so thorough readers are going to pretty much uh, yeah, be informed about it, and they're linked to the Kickstarter page. I think the Kickstarter page also has info on how to get it otherwise. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. Deep dive success. Yes, that was very educational. I think, hopefully for everyone out there, and I learned. Um, I like um, I liked being able to check out that FDEC framework. That's pretty awesome. Okay. Next up on our D&D binge, we have a an alternate setting for Fifth Ed. It's the world of uh, Ataltis. It's a RPG campaign setting for 5e. It's got 11 days ago on Kickstarter, so it's about to, as we learned um, from Eric, it's about to hit that critical point where, that bell curve where people start backing it. Although it's already been successfully backed, um, they came in with a pledge goal of 15,000 US. They are currently at 19,489, so pretty close to getting to 20K. So, what is this about? This is a new heroic fantasy setting for D&D 5e. Let's see. It's a time of hope. It is an age of heroes. More than 300 years have passed since the fall of the Atlan Alliance, and the people of Ataltis have finally brought order to their fractured world. Fledgling nations have grown into powerful kingdoms. Thriving merchant states have reestablished old trade routes, and the priests of the Enaros have rebuilt their great temples. But in this time of hope, the shadow of an ancient evil is rising once again. Deep beneath the surface of Ataltis lurk the armies of the fallen god Endroren. For centuries, an order of holy knights known as the Warders of Alantra maintained powerful mystic seals that held the forces of darkness at bay. But when the alliance fell, so did many of the ancient orders, including the Warders. Now, after centuries of neglect, the wards are failing, and the Dark Ones have returned. For the first time since the Age of Darkness, orcs, goblins, trolls, and a host of other fiendish monsters threaten the good people of the world. They strike with unrestrained cruelty, attacking, killing, and destroying all that lies before them. The recently reborn Holy Orders have combined their divine strength with the temporal power of the new kingdoms to face this growing threat. But the Dark Ones are many, and the defenders are few. But there is hope. Lord Drakewind of Agthor has called upon the brave men and women of his land to take up arms against their common foe. In response, a small army of heroes, known as adventurers, has joined the struggle. These stalwart men and women fight the battles ordinary soldiers cannot fight, go where holy orders dare not go, and serve as beacons of hope in a world growing darker with each passing day. From hardened dwarven warriors to crafty Shibatan rogues, from fleet footed face scouts to mysterious Selenthian mages. These brave souls offer what may ultimately prove the only salvation for this troubled land. So you have here a minimum pledge of, let's see, um, $10. That gets you a hug, a fist bump, or a hearty handshake, and your name in the acknowledgments. But for the actual game, you got to pledge $35 or more. This gets you the Adventurer's Guide, the Player's Guide, the Game Master's Guide, the Forgotten Gate Adventure, every book unlocked in the stretch goals, and your name in the acknowledgments. Now, these are all digital PDFs only. If you want a physical copy, you will get you will have to pledge 75 US or more. This gets you all of that above, but in addition to the PDF digital copy, the hardcover as well, except for the Forgotten Gate and the stretch goal books. But you do get the core three, which are the Adventurer's Guide, the Player's Guide, and the Game Master's Guide. So, what do we know so far about the world of Aetaltis? Um, let's see. What makes it special? Aetaltis takes everything you've ever loved about fantasy RPG worlds and gives it new life. They aren't turning their backs on classic fantasy elements or throwing out the stuff that made fantasy so popular with gamers to begin with. Instead, they embraced all of it, made it cooler than ever, and used it to make a world that is deeply familiar yet totally new at the same time. $40 Dead Tree and only 35 for PDF better okay. So yeah, it's Kickstarter does tend to do that. Yeah, they do tend to price better. Um yeah. Um agree with you there. Better than Wizards of the Coast pricing. What makes Aetaltis special? So yeah. In Aetaltis, you and your friends will explore a fantastic new world of adventure where dwarven zealots engage in a brutal guerrilla war to take their lost, deep-land homes from a seemingly unstoppable horde of monsters. Humans lead an alliance of races from another world, whoa, who are trapped on Aetaltis after the cataclysmic destruction of the world gates. Magic is as terrifying as it is powerful, requiring spellcasters to take exceptional care or risk losing control of the supernatural powers at their command. Feline featured Drothmal barbarians from the icebound plains wade into battle with wild, terrifying abandon, reveling in every wound they take as a blessing from the god of trial. The spirits of the Fae are so deeply entwined with the power of magic, it causes these otherworldly beings to take on a myriad physical forms, from elves to sprites to fairies. 10-foot tall Orog mercenaries wage an endless war against enemies on the battlefield and the darkness that corrupts their souls. Interesting. So they have a couple of maps. They have a trailer video, or video message rather. This is a sample of the Adventurer's Guide, which gives you. It is an immersive text that aids novice adventurers as they set out in search of their destiny. Um, okay. What else? Player's Guide. All the information you need to create and play a character in 5th Ed Aetaltis. New races, new classes, new spells, and a point-based Aetaltan magic system. Yeah, it looks like you would get a good bang for your buck out of this, out of backing this. Um, and to my understanding, Shadzar, you're in the U.S., so this would not be bad at all because for us on our side of the pond, it's quite difficult to get any kind of physical copy to have it delivered all the way here because of how ridiculous shipping costs can get for those of us in Southeast Asia. So, yeah, good for you. The player's guide is okay. Rather, the game master's guide contains everything a GM needs to craft fantastic Aetaltis adventures and run an extended campaign set in the world of Aetaltis. Includes guidance for running adventures. The monsters are here too, so it's like a DM's guide slash monster manual. Um, rules and setting expansions, handy tools that help you run a great game, and an extra set of rules for awarding inspiration. Cool. And then um of course you have the introductory adventure called the Forgotten Gate. Nice. So what are you getting? All this A lot of stretch goals have been unlocked. Well, a few, not a lot. But you already have PDF character sheets. Um the a Talton calendar in case you want to keep track of that during your during your uh during your campaign. and GM screen inserts. So a printable GM screen in PDF format that you can add to if you like me DIY'd your own your own GM screen where you can just slip different A4 size papers into, then this will be awesome. Yeah, PDF is free shipping, but yeah, I was talking about like for hardbound books. Like if I wanted to get um the hardbound books because they do seem like a great deal, like I would be missing out on that. It's a shame that they didn't make like um all their stretch goals. Like let's see what people are missing out on if they don't make it all the way. If they don't make it to 20,000, but I'm pretty sure they'll make this. There's a new book called The Heroes of Thornwall. It's um it has another starter adventure called The Temple of Modron. Um ooh. Okay, so each core book, if it reaches 25K, expands from 128 pages to 136 pages each. Next, you have um you can get even bigger core books when they reach 45K. Um it goes up to 144 pages. I love how page count is such a thing with this Kickstarter. And so on. The top one, let's see what the top one is. New book, an Eitaltis novel. And before that, crazy big core books, with them going up to 160 pages each. Um, all right, so uh, the creators of this Kickstarter say that it's just the beginning. Every time they unlock a stretch goal, um, they reveal a new one. So yeah, let's see if they unlock more in the 11 days left on the Kickstarter. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. So if this interests you, you can check out you can check this out on Kickstarter, World of Eight Um, and yeah, again for 35 bucks, you get the PDFs. If you are in the US, or if you don't mind, if you don't mind paying extra for shipping, 75 bucks gets you the hardcovers as well. Shadzar says, I want to make a bamboo DM screen, but bamboo is so expensive and can't grow it without a license. Right, right. It's a very hardy grass. Um, should hit. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say this is gonna hit 20K. It's just like $500 and change short of it with 11 days to go. It's pretty sure. Like I don't think they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna hit like those last couple of stretch goals, but yeah, that maybe the next couple of months, depending on how that late Kickstarter push goes for them. Hopefully, they're able to get the word out. People, you know, people have a bad case of FOMO, fear of missing out, and they start, this thing starts to rocket upwards. So good luck to the creators of this, Mark Tassin. Yeah, hopefully, uh, hopefully this thing. I mean, it's already backed. Yeah, more power to you guys. Let's check out the next topic. This one is a bunch of stuff from the local gaming sphere in the Philippines. We're very proud of our what do you call it? Like our uh, baby steps, but it's growing and it seems to be growing in the right direction. So we're all watching out for each other's backs. And just this past weekend, Natural 20, which are local dice makers, artisanal dice makers, um, had some good success with their dice making workshop. So Yeah, prepare yourself for dice porn. We're about to look at uh, the photos from their event. So Natural 20 says that they are absolutely proud of the stunning dice that their participants crafted, and the pictures will do the talking. So let's check that out. Let's check these out. Like looks like they got busy from the get go. Is that a mold? Oh, this isn't a Kickstarter. This is a local in the Philippines. This is a local dice creator. Here, I'm gonna copy their link and put it in chat. You can check them out. Natural 20 Gaming Goods. They are from the Philippines. They make some excellent dice. Here are the doodads, I guess, that they put into the resin. Pretty nice. These are all the participants. This is the lady behind Natural 20 herself, front and center. Are these rejects or do they shave these down into the shape of, the actual dice? I wonder. Oh, these are pretty cool. That's a D12 right there. Nice. I'm guessing these aren't rejects. It looks like they came out of the mold. The extra bits are the ones that you kind of have to shave off, I guess. You've seen this done on stream. Nice. Oh, this is nice. This is pretty. Like a sparkly ruby red. Yeah, you mold a polyhedron shape in resin. Yeah, these are resin dice. Oh, then you cut off the excess. All right. That's cute. It kind of rested all on one side though. They all sank over to one side. Yeah, you grind and sand them down. Cool. Oh, that's pretty. There's like a rose. Like the rose itself with the colors. That works really well. Resin and sawdust composite. What is sawdust composite? Like sawdust mixed with what? Oh, they're coming out really well. I guess this is when they've like sanded them down. That looks so good. Wow. Man, I wish I went to this one. Oh, okay. So the composite is made of resin and sawdust. I gotcha. I thought like sawdust mixed with something else and then you add resin. This one came out so well. This like rose colored, dice. This is so cool. I'm so sad I missed out on this. This one's pretty too. This one I would love to give like to like if I had a niece or a nephew playing RPGs for the first time, I'd probably, if I could make dice for them, I'd make it in this fashion. Ah, this is the one of the rows inside. Looks so nice. Right, like they might weight the dice unevenly. Right, I get what you're saying. Like with the yeah, with the thingies inside. That is a finished product right there. That is excellent. Nice job, Natural 20. Yeah, kudos. These look awesome. I would love to get my own to order my own dice molds and like try to kind of make these myself. Anyway, aside from Natural 20, we also have news from if you recall a couple of months ago, trending on Twitter, at least in local Twitter, um, was the hashtag Manila Encounters. Now, it kind of got diluted into something it wasn't intended to be. Like in some cases, it became something a bit more comedic, you know, um, or even a bit mundane. But really, the original intent of the hashtag was to draw attention to, the experience of living in Manila, but seen through the lens of, the slightly supernatural or even the slightly creepy or, um, yeah, supernatural horror. And we have the um, the person who started it all. He BJ Resho is going to be of Nosferatu Publishing is going to be uh, there in session zero. So Manila is in a state of constant reinvention from its roots as a trading hub built by mercantile Lacans. It has passed through many generations, each with their own ideas. Colonizers built walls, wars destroyed them, rival political families carved them up into their own cities and municipalities. We build and we polish, and now, whenever the sun sets on the Manila Bay, new buildings gleam and reflect its facade. The rusted skeletons of Manila's discarded dreams remain. They are unspoken, forgotten, invisible, but not imaginary. This is Manila Encounters. So this is an RPG zine for Manila-based campaign settings that will be available at session zero. So yeah, I we hope to see you all at Green Sun on August 25th. The art, this is a Santa Nino by Christina Marcos, and based on one of the Manila Encounters tweets by Phil Corpus. So there you go. Pretty cool. Um, you can now use like I so many of the golden ideas that came out of that Twitter hashtag condensed, I guess, into a zine format for you to use in your own um, Manila centric campaigns. All right. Finally, the last topic for the day. We're going to plug once more Serpent Sundays, D&D for newbies over at Buku Buku Cafe in Parañaque. So do check them out if you are a beginner to D&D or know people who would like to start playing D&D. This isn't a bad place at all to start. Serpent Sundays um, will be should be a great introduction to uh, to the game, to the hobby. Um, facilitated by one of our viewers himself, Santagoy. So we're really proud of you. Really proud of you. Hope it's still going well. These are gonna go on at Buku Buku Cafe for the foreseeable future, if I recall correctly. So it's gonna just keep going every Sunday. If you want to learn D&D or introduce someone to D&D, this is a pretty good place to start. So I think these are some photos from there you go from the events. Um, yeah, I mean that looks like people are having fun, doesn't it? Doesn't it? All smiles. Um, people busy with their character sheets, dice out on the table and stuff like that. Obviously, the guy with the laptop is the DM. So there you go. Hopefully, yes. Hopefully they um they get to bring more people into the world of D&D and eventually like the larger world of tabletop role playing games. Let's catch up with chat. They need a Kickstarter, then Philippines can charge crazy shipping to everyone else. Yeah, Kickstarter doesn't service the Philippines. We have our own things like I think it's Indiegogo. I know, not Indiegogo. Man, one of my bands used this to kickstart stuff. Let me just check real quick. Crowdfunding. What is it again? Go get funding. There you go. Spark Project. You also have. Was it Indiegogo? That's the. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to recall. Um, there we go. Go get funding is specifically for the Philippines. Then you have the Spark Project, which is also like specifically Filipino. So yeah, these are alternatives to Kickstarter, I guess. I don't know how they work when it comes to shipping to other countries, but yeah. Anyhow, that is it for our stream today. I would like to thank everyone for a very interesting discussion, like in a very interesting stream in terms of discussion, in terms of the topics covered, in terms of the stuff we all shared. So uh yeah, like there's always opportunity to learn from um I believe from everything that goes on whenever we stream. So I want to say thank you to everyone for participating. We had let's try to go chronologically. We started off the stream with Dice Chuck and Eric. Thank you for tuning in so early and keeping me company. You know what's good kind of popped in there for a moment. We also have Santago also popped in and said hi. Thank you so much. Um, we have Maury also tuned in. Thank you, Maury. Chad Sar, of course. Thank you for keeping the discussion lively and engaging. Um, and yeah, and even Reveus. Thank you for dropping by. I know you're busy today, but you know, I'm here. I'm here to kind of to catch you. No problem. I'm. I don't know if you caught this on stream, but I am available, I guess, for the next couple of Mondays. So I will be able to join you at the afternoon table talk stream, like old times. But Wednesdays are still evenings for me. So you can catch us on Wednesday. I guess this means I won't be streaming later this evening, so no need to tune in to Dicecast at 7:30 p.m. Philippine time. You will see us again on Wednesday. Probably at the if Reves is available, you can catch him 12 noon Philippine time, streaming uh, tabletop related video games. I myself will be on at Wednesday evening. And if it's a solo stream again, then we can continue playing Pathfinder Kingmaker and yeah, checking out all the awesome mods that have been coming out for that game recently, including the turn-based combat mod and the closer to tabletop mod. Um, yes, that's pretty much it. And of course, on Saturday, thank you, Eric. Yeah, we're looking forward to it too. So the Saturday stream is going to be a table talk special. We are going to be featuring even more game designers, local game designers, who are going to be in attendance at Gamers and GM's session 0 on August 25th. They will be with us on Saturday afternoon. We will have another roundtable discussion about um, the local local RPG community and their experiences creating games, and the both the good and the bad, like the things they loved about it, and the hurdles they had to face. Because let's face it, it's we're, it's in its infancy here in the Philippines. We're just starting out, so yeah, let's find out like what that means for the actual creators. Um, Yes, always interesting to hear things from halfway around the world, and we're glad to hear from about things from your side of the pond as well. In fact, all of the things we report about on this show are more often than not from from across the Pacific. So yeah, but we are really proud of, yeah, that's why we have a section always on Table Talk about local gaming events, local creators, and all stuff from our own community. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, everyone. I'm signing off. I hope you have a good day or a good night wherever you may be. Yeah, and keep enjoying games. Keep tuning into Dicecast, and we will see you around. I'm gonna play you out with the intro, which is now the outro, and yeah, see you guys online.